Welcome to the very first episode of the Power Network podcast. Today we have a brand new entrepreneur who is very slowly crossing into the realm of entrepreneurship. And I want to welcome Ms. Elena Levy, who is an amazing health professional who saw a gap in the health industry for women. And as an entrepreneur who solves the problems, she came up with the solution for women in a very specific stage of their life, perimenopause. So Elena, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to help women in this stage.
Hi, Leah. It's such a pleasure to talk to you on this podcast. I've been watching you grow as an entrepreneur for many years, and you have an amazing journey, and you've featured such amazing women on your podcast, in your photo shoots.
Thank you.
And your Instagram pages that I wanted to become a part of your journey as well. And I'm very excited to be your first guest on the podcast. I was born in Dushanbe in the former Soviet Union. At age 18, due to the civil war there, my family moved to the United States. And I started college here to become a PA, which was a new profession to me, but I always wanted to be in the medical field. And my mom is a physician. I had a few other doctors in the family, and I always wanted to heal people. And I started my journey as a PA about over 25 years ago. Through my career, I worked in different areas. I did women's health, general surgery, otolaryngology, and psychiatry. But what made me actually pay attention to women in perimenopause was my own journey with that. About 10 years ago, I started noticing fatigue, body aches, weight gain, poor sleep. So I was looking for answers for myself. And then I researched many ways to get into holistic medicine. I tried changing my diet to keto, then plant-based, then tried energetic healing with Reiki, homeopathy, and then finally I found my way into functional medicine, which I feel is the best way to treat from the root causes from upstream and bring a woman to the best health.
Awesome. So what is perimenopause? Like you basically kind of niched into that stage. Can you explain a little bit more specifically, when does it start? How does it start? Like, what are the symptoms? And when should women seek help, you know? Because I'm already close to that age, so I have questions for myself, and I know a lot of women in my network have those questions too. Like, what should we be looking out for, and when do we contact you, you know, if we have those questions?
Sure. The perimenopause is actually 5 to 10 years before the menopause. Menopause, it's when you stop having your periods for 12 months in a row. That's when you're officially in menopause. But perimenopause is the period leading up to that, where the hormones start fluctuating. They lower, most of them, the progesterone, testosterone, estrogen. And so you start feeling subtle changes for years before the menopause. Initially, it can be sleep, which is getting disrupted. You can't fall asleep or you can't stay asleep. It can be the weight around the midline, especially, which is really hard to lose in spite of good diet and exercise, and doing the same things that worked in your 20s don't work for you anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. It can be the energy level. All of a sudden, by 2-3 p.m., you feel this crash of energy and you can't function anymore. Body aches, muscle aches, even like a little bit of exercise sometimes makes you have to recover for 3 to 4 days before you can go back to the gym. So for everybody, it looks different. Of course, later in your perimenopause, you also start having hot flashes, for some women, night sweats. So and your periods become more irregular, they become shorter or more heavy. So then you will definitely know you're in perimenopause, but those little whispers, they start years ahead of that time.
Can we prevent it or can we delay it? Can we delay this or no?
So a lot of times the hormones, they speak between each other. So a lot of times the stress, your gut health, the toxin accumulation, it all makes your female hormones go down much faster. Also not having enough nutrients or proteins in your diet, that can make the process go much faster. So when you live a better lifestyle, when you address the stress, gut issues, toxin load, then you're able to make sure that your hormones are in sync and your symptoms are very mild, and actually without even hormonal supplementation or replacement.
So you were talking about mild symptoms. What are like the milder symptoms, and what are like the worst case scenario symptoms that you should pay attention to?
The milder symptoms, maybe it takes you 40 minutes to fall asleep rather than 10 minutes when you used to be younger. Or maybe now your energy crashes, like I said, at 2 p.m. and then you used to be able to work through your day and then go out and have 5 hours of sleep and function fine the next day. So those are the little things which you could brush off. You're like, whatever, I can deal with that. But then eventually some women that I see, they accumulate this chronic inflammation to the point that all of a sudden the labs are abnormal, like your cholesterol starts creeping up, or the blood pressure starts going up, or you get prediabetes as one of your diagnoses, and then autoimmune disease. So a lot of times this inflammation and toxic load, it just accumulates over the years, and it actually then can cause a lot of symptoms and diagnoses through medical system, So perimenopause, when I say it's broad, it's just like the age group of women that I love to work with, because I've walked this journey, I'm still walking through it, but I see that for everybody it's very different.
So let's say a person they're feeling their symptoms here and there, like you said, the whispers. Like, what is the first step to basically contact you? Like, what is the process? Do I call you first? Can you walk me through the process after like the consultation? Let's say we do a consultation. What happens after that?
So first of all, for those of you who are not sure if you fit into this category and you actually need my help, join my free community. I have this free online community at portal.personalizedholistic.healing.com, and then you create the username and password, and you're invited to join my free Q&As, weekly Q&As, and every month we have a topic that we talk about. Like this month it's stress and perimenopause. Last month it was gut and perimenopause. So each month it's a different topic, and you can ask your questions live, after the presentation. And I also do monthly workshops on those topics. So definitely that's the best way to start. You're also in the community. You'll see my posts about self-care, about the recipes that I share, the quizzes. So by taking those quizzes, by participating in the Q&A, you'll know. And then if you actually are serious about taking matters into your hands and making the next step is you book a consultation with me. When you go on my website, you're able to do it through the website. And then we sit down. It's free consultation, 30 minutes. You tell me what's going on, and then we discuss if this is the right time for you to address those things and how, if and how I can help you. And there are different levels of support that I can offer for you.
Do you check like the labs to determine everything?
Yes. So I definitely recommend full blood work. And with New Yorkers, we do it in different ways. Let's say sometimes you're able to do a lot of labs through your insurance. So you would do blood work through your PCP. I'll give you the suggested list. Most of the time you're not going to get 100% of those labs, but you'll get majority of them. And then if you wanted to go even deeper, I suggest functional testing, which includes gut testing, testing for nutrient deficiencies, Dutch, which is a hormonal assay. We also check DNA to see what your predispositions are for genetic issues, meaning what is your detoxification like due to your genetics, or inflammation markers. Do you need additional vitamin D? So definitely, and then what diet works best with your genetics. So definitely very deep. And then we also do some assessments. We definitely, we're working together. We sit down for an hour and a half of a first consultation where I take your history from even before birth and beyond, all the antibiotics that you've taken,
Wow.
what types of surgeries you had. It's not something you can do in a traditional medical world. I know very well that you have 10 to 15 minutes for your visit, so you don't really get such
full,
a deep
yeah.
dive into the history. And a lot of times, the reasons for your sicknesses or symptoms now, they track back somewhere like in your childhood, young years, or something might have triggered those.
It's like a trauma in your body.
Sometimes, yes, psychological trauma. Sometimes it's actually medical trauma,
medical, yeah.
right? Courses of antibiotics and steroids. Sometimes it's birth of children when women have a few children back to back. So it could be different. Some stress, you lost a loved one, you know, you had a viral infection, some vaccine. COVID, that was a huge stressor for so many people. So many people then had long COVID. They have developed those depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
So there are ways we could actually go deep and address those problems and bring the people back to their optimal health, which is great. That's what I love about functional medicine.
That's amazing. So functional medicine, is it covered by insurance?
So like I said, some testing, some blood testing you are able to do through your PCP as a part of your insurance. But the functional testing that I was mentioning earlier, they're not covered by insurance. But you have to understand, the insurance, it's actually more to treat the disease. It's not really for prevention purposes. It doesn't want to look very deep. Like when you come to a traditional doctor, they're like, okay, I have 10 minutes. What is the diagnosis? What medication I can prescribe to you now, right? But when you go to a functional wellness specialist or a practitioner, they ask you, why is this happening? So they try to get to the root of the problem, because if you give the medication for high blood pressure, you're not really curing it, right? You're just giving something to support the system for now, and then that medication will give you side effects, and then you need another medication to, you know, cover the side effects of this one, and it's just like it's pharmaceuticals.
It's all about money.
Unfortunately,
it's all
yes,
about
big
money.
pharma. Yes.
Whoever gives you the biggest kickbacks, those are the drugs you push.
And I don't think it's because doctors like love to do this. This is how they're trained.
The system.
You know, this is what we learn. We didn't really learn much about nutrition in school or the lifestyle.
It's true.
Yeah, so
this is on
all
your
that
own
learning I had to do on my own, exactly.
Yes, I agree with you. My kids go to school, they don't really teach them any of this. You could tell by the food that they get, you know, for lunch.
Yes,
the system is built for you to fail, but if you educate yourself, or if you have someone like you who could guide them through the proper lifestyle, that could basically shift everything and give them a better quality of life, healthier person, it's like a happier person.
Sure.
You know, and in the future, you're not gonna go to the hospital where they basically, I don't want to say this, but I feel like the hospitals neglect a lot of patients because they're so overwhelmed, you know, with so many sick people.
For sure, for sure.
So it's up to us to take care of ourselves.
Right. You mentioned an important topic about the diet. So you know what the acronym is for American diet? It's SAD, Standard American Diet. It's too much processed foods, too much salt, too much sugar, too much seed oils. You know, whatever we put into our mouths, that rebuilds the cells, because our cells constantly turn over. So if you're eating that type of diet, you don't get the right nutrition. Even if you try to eat organic and healthy food, a lot of times the soil is depleted. Organic food will have some pesticide residue on it. So, but of course you do the best you can, and then you also try to open the pathways to detoxify your body. And you work on your stress, and you work on your sleep, and you know, you exercise. And the exercise also has to be with the level of stress that you're experiencing, because if your person is already in high stress, you don't want to put too much exercise on their body, because it could also give oxidation stress. So which
too much, really? Too much exercise is bad for you? I had no idea.
It's also bad for you, especially in perimenopause. You have to be careful, because sometimes it can actually do some harm to your body. So there is such a thing as too much exercise.
Wow. So what is too much? Like every single day of the week?
Every single day when you don't recover. Also,
it's about recovery. Okay.
Right. Also, if let's say some women run a lot, but running, it makes you lose your muscle mass a lot of times.
Does it?
So yes, if you run too much, your muscle sometimes get destroyed. So you need to actually make sure that you eat some protein, that you also do some power exercise. You also start working on your balance and your stretching, because like yoga comes into play. So sometimes to lower your stress, for somebody who's very stressed, walking and yoga would be the better choice than like running and doing high intensity exercises. So when we do the stress assessment, we see where you are. If you're very, very stressed, we want to give you exercise where you actually will lower your stress. And then if you're like completely depleted, you also don't want to start with very high intensity exercises. So definitely we take that into consideration.
Wow. I did not think of that. I always thought the more exercise, the better.
No.
But I guess I was misinformed, because you are fed all of this on social media. Like people are always at the gym working out, building muscle mass. And you're like, oh, I'm behind. I do this once or twice a week. But I guess you're right. The body has to recover, because it's a lot of strain on the body, especially if you haven't done it, you know.
And also the research, a lot of research in general is done on men. And a lot of it is done on young men. So yes, my boys, my sons, they're trying to be my trainers. And I'm like, whatever works for you is not going to work for me.
That's right.
I'm a woman of a certain age.
That's right.
So you also have to take physiology and the sex, female gender into play, because it's going to be different for a woman of our age rather than a young guy. So
that's right. Yeah, we're built differently. So
we're built differently. Our hormones work differently. Our muscles are built differently. So yes, for sure.
Wow. Thank you. That was great. So this is a great topic, and we are going to have an event on June 29th, right? Yes. And if anybody wants to join us, they should come to the event and meet Elena in person and learn more in depth of how to explore perimenopause, because this is a very individualized thing. Everybody's body has a different rhythm. Everybody has different stress levels. And it's important to have that customized approach, like you said, not like the one where you go to the doctor, everybody gets the same medicine.
Yes.
Everybody's body responds to things differently. So thank you for this. I learned a lot. Even though it hasn't been a long conversation, I learned a lot, especially about exercise, like who knew? And thank you for coming. I also want to say that I know Elena's family for a long time. She comes from a very highly educated family. I knew her sister. We went to high school. She used to cry over bad grades. She's going to yell at me for this. I knew her grandmother. She lived in my building. Back in the day, your grandmother used to be a judge.
A lawyer.
A lawyer.
She was the first Bukharian Jewish lawyer in Dushanbe. She came from Tashkent. It was her internship. She was sent to Tajikistan, and then she got married there, and she lived the rest of her life there until we moved to the United States. And yes, my grandmother and my grandfather on my mom's side, they were a huge inspiration. Just want to say he was a zoologist, he was a scientist, he had PhD at age 26, which is almost like impossible to do back in the former Soviet Union. And he had a huge library.
10,000 books.
10,000
I remember she told me this.
I never had a library card, because every time I wanted to read a book, I'd just go to my grandfather and he'd be lending me books. But he was always very strict. Make sure that you treat the book nicely, that it's not folded any pages. It has to come back to me as clean and beautiful as it is right now.
As possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to say, you guys come from a very knowledgeable family, and I know your mom is a doctor. I know your sister, she's also works in Memorial Sloan Kettering. And whatever research you've done, I know it's very thorough. I trust your research, because I know that you read a lot of books. It's not just something that you came up with. This is just something you've studied, which gives so much credibility. And I trust that you can help so many people. Which is amazing. So thank you so much for coming. This was amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna post your information underneath. Guys, I'm gonna tag her. I'm gonna link everything. So contact her if you have any questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Leah.
Imagine if it didn't record.